Another 20-year low for the Toronto real estate market? Two of them, actually. And this kind of comes as a shocker since most people thought that now that we're in the middle of the fall market, everything wouldn't be as wacky and things would pick back up. But it didn't. So is this the norm? Stay tuned as I break down the latest numbers to kind of give you an idea of what's happening in the real estate market. And if you are looking for help on how to navigate this real estate market, you can book a call with me using the link that's right here. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Simply click on the date and a time that works best for you. And then when you see the prompt, fill in your name, email, mobile phone number, and a question you have for me, and then we'll chat then. Good day, Toronto. Welcome to another episode of Prime Properties TV. My name is Zhen, and I run a RE/MAX brokerage in the Greater Toronto area on top of making wicked, very, very, very data-driven educational real estate content like this for you. Now, the latest numbers are out, and for the second time this year, we have a 20-year low in sales. Yeah. The crazy thing is, this is September, which is generally the bounce back month from slow summer months that we saw for the 20-year low in July, right? But obviously, before I dive into the big picture data, if you're looking for the more like localized data to see how your property fared, a chart looks like this. I've been doing it since February. You can go to the link on the screen that's right here to download it. It's free of charge. Now, we are at 20-year lows in September for sales right now, which is around 5,000, which is very, very, very low. It's down 10% from August, which is, like I said, super weird because it normally goes up. And it's the lowest amount of sales in the month of September since 2002, which is 20 years ago, right? And more on that a little bit later. However, the average price didn't really, budge too much. In fact, it's actually up 0.67%, I think, or 7.7, which isn't much, at least, but it's not posted in the negative territory. Now, I posed the question where we would be at the end of September because statistically speaking, the average price generally increases from August to September. And it's usually quite a large month-over-month increase, about like 5% or so, dating back to like 1996, as you can see over here. There is only one time in which we were negative, which was in 2001. So one would argue, at least right now, we're not negative like 2001. But on the other hand, it's also a very, very low increase, definitely on the lower side. Even the pandemic year was not as low. So I would say the month-over-month data probably would have been a little bit higher from the move if July to August wasn't such an increase, because that was also not the norm. Now, the new listings I can tell over here are up, and so are active listings, but that's only up when you compare it to a pretty busy August, relatively speaking. It's actually very low relative to other Septembers, but again, more on that later. And then you got your month of inventory that's pretty stable, like 2.7 months of inventory still, kind of where we were in the last few months. Now, the prices in the micro markets I can see over here, they're all over the place, and I really wouldn't put too much weight on them, given that the number of sales in each is very small, so it can be skewed in either way. What I can say anecdotally and just like data from the boots on the ground is that the entry-level freehold properties seem to be getting the most attention and interest right now. Now, let's take a look at the history of the year so far to give you an idea of where we stand. And you can essentially see from this chart over here that we're on the second month of what looks like potentially prices are stabilizing. Potentially, right? And like I said before, I thought the best case scenario for us this fall would be that prices stabilize. And so far, it's holding true, best case scenario. And October tends to be like the peak of fall, and we'll have to see in a couple months. However, given how things are right now, and they're kind of all out of norm, no one knows, but it looks like a little bit busier right now from the first few days. Now, note the interest rate announcement is October 26th, so if that changes any buyer sentiment, we have to wait until later in the month. So, that's like 3 weeks or so, probably getting another 50, that's what I've been saying. Now, one of the things I want to draw your attention to is how the stats are going to be framed in the headlines going forward, like this month. And I've always liked to use month-to-month data as it gives you a better snapshot of the market of what's going on right now. However, a lot of people may use the year-over-year numbers, depending on what kind of story you're trying to frame. So if I were to use a year-over-year number, you can see over here, this is the first month ever this year where we saw a negative price decline. Meaning September of this year, 2022, was the first time we see prices lower than what they were last year in 2021. It's actually down like 4.4% or so. And we'll probably continue to see this trend in the next few months, but when you look at month over month, it's kind of the same price, meaning it's what I call stabilizing, right? Now, you'll also hear sales are down like 45, 44% or so from last year, which is a big number. It's almost half. But I wouldn't be too concerned about it given where we are right now, comparing the peak 2021 number of sales to what could be a very low sales count in 2022, because 20-year lows, right? Now, if you found this content useful, it probably means other people will as well. So make sure to help us spread the knowledge by smashing that like button and subscribing to the Prime Properties channel. And because you can tell I'm a very big nerd, I can still see some of you are not subscribed right now who are watching this content. So do me a solid and subscribe to the Prime Properties channel so that you'll know whenever I drop wicked, sick, awesome content just like this so that you'll be aware of what's happening. And if you are looking for some help in the real estate market, you can do so by booking a call with me. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Okay, now let's look at the history of September sales, which is over here. And you can see that we're really below the average, and we have to go back 20 years, like I've been saying, to even get remotely close to the number of sales we have. Remember, Toronto has grown a lot in terms of the amount of housing stock, and the population has grown a lot in the last 20 years. So to revert to that number of sales is rough. It's rough. But I have a theory that's going to give you a bit of a silver lining, right? Now, this chart here I have here for you is basically showing the decline in sales this year relative to the last 4 years. And you can see that it's coming down quite sharp. And I think it'll stay that way as a lot of people are in the kind of wait and see camp due to fear of the unknown with the rates and the economy. Now, we could very much get close to the April pandemic sales lows, and that's really bad. It'll make this whole 20-year low even worse, and it'll continue at this pace. So here's the silver lining of it and my theory. You can see in this chart over here, we're at a very low new listing rate amount. Actually, also a 20-year low. Weird, right? September proved to have more listings than August, which is normal, but not as much more as we would have gone normally. We should have gone way more listings, but we didn't. Also, within that bulk of new listings that I'm seeing, I'm noticing a lot of properties relist, meaning that they were on the market at some point earlier this year, probably back in the spring market, and they couldn't sell, hoping that the fall market would, treat them better, them being the sellers. And the answer is no. So if you have a bad property, it's still not selling, meaning that there's a lot less quality listings that's in the market right now. And you can actually see that over here with the active listings charts, where at the end of the month, the amount of listings available, to buy is still below the average that we see. It's actually quite low. And you see that little bar over here I'm going to point out in 2021. Well, that's also very low because everything was being bought in 2021. It's super low in 2022 because nothing is coming out. Not much stuff is being bought. And I would say September kind of feels like there's stuff for sale, but nothing to buy. It's kind of like going into a Winners and trying to find something, but it's all crap. Meaning in the real estate market, there's a lot of crap out there, but nothing quality to buy. And our team is seeing this right now, boots on the ground. And that's kind of why when there is a good product out there, kind of like the picturesque, perfect, turnkey, ready to go, I can move in right now kind of property, it's getting multiple offers. And we'll kind of see how this theory pans out in October, but so far it looks like the market is kind of stable. Now, if you're selling, you need to stand out. 1 in 5 properties are selling, meaning you got to be that one. You need to be at least top 20% on the market. And if you're buying, unless you're looking for a crappy house that needs some work, some reno, some TLC, you're going to have competition. Look, for the properties that have been stale in the market and they've been relisted a couple of times, the sellers are probably more motivated. That's the one you may want to target and may want to lowball them because their list price is a little bit high. And that's kind of what we're telling our clients that are buyers and sellers. Now, if you're looking for some quality experience to help you navigate this kind of confusing market, you can book a strategy call with me using the link that's on the screen. It's www.chatwithzen.com. Until next time, your move, your future. See ya. Now that you're done watching this one, how about this one? Oh, you know what? This one's good too. Ooh, this one's really good. You know what? Just watch them both.